What's going on, guys? In this video I'll show you how I wrapped the hood of my 2017 Subaru Outback with VVivid's new Ultra Gloss Khaki Green. Alright guys, so I've got my hood piece cut out and set up on my hood here. You can see that I had some excess that I trimmed off along the front end here. I have enough coverage going over the edge on both sides. At the top my corner points are here, so I have plenty up top as well. So basically I trimmed it out but left a little bit of extra all the way around. Now this is VVivid's Ultra Gloss in Khaki Green. It's a fairly recent release. It's in their Ultra Gloss series of vinyl wrap for vehicles. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started. With my hood thoroughly cleaned and my vinyl positioned in place, it's time to peel the backing paper from the vinyl. I like to start at one corner and peel off a portion big enough that I can pull the remaining backing paper from underneath the sheet of vinyl without having it lift off the hood. Once I've got a corner started, I like to tack it down to the A-pillar by the windshield base and the top of the fender, as well as put a magnet on top of that to help reinforce it in place. And so once you have it reinforced, go ahead and peel the remaining backing paper from underneath the vinyl sheet, as you see me do in the video. Notice that I'm trying to roll the vinyl backing paper underneath the vinyl at about a 45-degree angle closely along the surface of the hood. And this helps to minimize the amount of movement of the sheet itself, as well as reducing chances that any particulates get caught up underneath the vinyl, as it would if you lifted the whole sheet off and peeled it off. Once you have the backing paper fully removed, it's time to glass out the vinyl. I like to start with the opposite half that I anchored and started pulling the vinyl from. Lift up the vinyl and then pull in a triangular fashion to glass out the vinyl. You'll see the vinyl towards the middle become smooth and glass-like when you do this. Once you've satisfactorily glassed out the side you're on, make any adjustments towards the front in case it's folded up or not fully covering the front end. You can see me making adjustments here because the vinyl folded up on the front end, and you can also do some glassing out in this area as well to get set up for the other side of the hood. Go ahead and glass out the other side the same way you did the first half. Again, use the triangle technique to glass out the vinyl as much as possible and then make adjustments after your initial laydown of the vinyl. Once you have both halves of your hoods glassed out to your liking, it's time to start squeegeeing the vinyl. As I said before, I like to do half of the hood at a time, and so in the video you see me squeegeeing on the passenger side of the hood first and then going on to the driver's side after that. You can see in the hood that there's a low point close to the fender side. Here I have bridged the vinyl across the low point onto the high point that you can see in the hood, and that's called bridging. Once I have my bridge set, I like to use my wrap glove to assist in pushing the vinyl into that recess with my palm. Basically, I'm stretching the vinyl into that recess, the vinyl that's bridged across into the low point, and I only do this technique when the recess is really shallow as it is here. If it was a deeper, sharper recess, I would definitely feed the vinyl down into the recess instead of pushing it in with a bridging technique. Once I've completed this process and I have made it up past the high point of the hood, continue squeegeeing until you reach the edge of the hood where it meets the fender. When you reach that area, I like to bridge the vinyl across the gap between the hood and the fender, which will set up cutting the vinyl for later. Towards the front corner of the hood above the headlight area, it curves down, and you might notice that the vinyl starts to create a lot of fingers or bunching up in that area. Here again, use the triangle technique to glass out the vinyl and work it down to the edge of the hood. If you need to, use a little bit of heat to assist in making the vinyl a bit softer and more stretchable, but be very sparing with it and do not heat in just a very localized area. Be sure to heat the entire area of loose vinyl so that when you do stretch it to glass it out and get it down over that curve, the stretch is even and it's not localized and concentrated in one area. And so once you have that side of the hood all laid down, basically you'll do the other side of the hood the same way. Once all the vinyl has been laid down to all the edges of the hood, it's time to start trimming out. I typically like to start by trimming out the back of the hood towards the windshield. I'll roll the vinyl over the back edge of the hood with my fingers, typically with a wrap glove on, and that basically sets it up so I can cut underneath the hood using the underside of the hood as my cut guide. To cut the sides and the front edges, I like to prop the hood up a little bit for easier access. That way I can roll the vinyl over the edges of the hood to ensure full coverage. I typically use a small cardboard box, or in this case you can see I'm using a plastic Tupperware container to prop the hood up. I find just propping it up a little bit is easier than all the way up. Use a little bit of heat all along the edges to relax the vinyl, and use your fingers to mold the vinyl over the edge smoothly so that you can ensure a nice clean cut. Because this is a full color change, I do want the edges to be fully covered, but there's no need to wrap underneath the hood. So I will place the flat non-cutting side of the blade up against the underside of the hood and use the bottom edge of the hood as my guide to glide the knife along and make a nice clean cut. As you cut, hold the loose vinyl that has just been released from your cut to add a little bit of tension while you go and cut off the rest of the vinyl. This will help ensure a clean cut that is not jagged. You may notice that as I cut off the excess vinyl from the side edges of the hood, I leave a chunk of vinyl around the back corner tips of the hood by the windshield. This is so I have a little bit of extra vinyl to be able to do a stretch and hook technique over the corner. Once you have finished cutting out all the excess vinyl, pull back the vinyl from the corner about an inch or two back, lightly heat, and then stretch and hook the vinyl over the corner as you see me doing in the video. As you hook it over the corner, pull away onto the sides in a triangular fashion. Once you have the vinyl hooked over the corner, mold the sides around the corner away from the tip of the corner. Once you have the vinyl stretched and hooked over the sides, hit it with some heat so the vinyl will shrink around that corner. And while the vinyl is still a little bit warm, you can use this opportunity to shape and mold the vinyl around the corner a little bit better to your liking. Once the vinyl has cooled enough and you're satisfied your corner looks good, trim it out by cutting directly underneath the corner first and then go out towards each of the flat sides. Once you finish trimming out all the corners and all the excess vinyl from the sides and edges, be sure to go over all your edges again with heat and press them down with your fingers to ensure they're sealed down fully. Once you have finished that, I recommend going over the entire hood with heat to ensure you didn't miss any areas that need to be squeegeed down. And once you finish that process, your hood wrap is complete.